Hello, YouTube. This is Mike. Welcome back to another episode of Movies from A to Z. And, or do you say Z? Some people do. I don't know why. But today the letter V stands for V. That makes sense, doesn't it? VIY, or Spirit of Evil. This is a Russian film that came out in 1967. Can't tell you who directed it. I forgot to write it down. And everything on the back of this is in Russian, so that's not going to help me very much. But it's a director I never heard of, actors I never heard of. The story is about, well, first of all, it's based on a short story by Nikolai Gogol, which I have in this collection of short stories called The Mantle and Other Stories. And for some reason, they render his name as Nicholas. V is about three Orthodox, I won't give you the whole plot, I'll just kind of give you the bare bones. Three Orthodox seminarians from Kiev who are going off for a holiday, and they're walking through this deep, dark woods in the middle of the night. And the path they're on, the road, suddenly stops, and they're just lost in the woods. And one of them looks off into the distance and sees a light of a farmhouse. He said, let's go there. Maybe the light will stay the night. So they go there, and they knock on the gate, and this very old woman answers the gate, and they ask her if they can stay for the night. Well, she says, yes, but you'll all have to sleep in different places because the house is filled with people. Okay, so one of the seminarians, whose name is Coma Brutus, and he's a philosophy student, he's sleeping out in the barn, and in the middle of the night, the old woman comes through the door, and she starts approaching him with this very strange look on her face, and he believes, or he realizes, that she's trying to seduce him. So his attitude is, there's no way in the world I'm going to do anything with an old hag like you. Well, this old woman is very powerful, and a physical struggle ensues, and she wins, and she ends up climbing on his back. This is not an erotic sexual thing at all. They're both clothed, and she climbs on his back, and he's under her power, and they start running. She starts using him like he's a horse, and as they go outside of the barn, she grabs her broom, and then they start running faster, and they start flying. Well, he realizes the old woman is a witch, and he starts praying. So the more he prays, he starts, well, they start to head for the ground, and they eventually land on the ground. He takes the broom, and he beats the old woman half to death, almost to death. And before she dies, or she's about to die, all of a sudden she turns into a beautiful young woman with porcelain skin, beautiful green eyes, and long black hair. And she's crying, and he is so freaked out by this point that he just runs away and he leaves her there. Runs back to the seminary, where he's told by the headmaster that he has been chosen by a wealthy landowner some miles from the seminary to go and pray for his young daughter who is in danger of dying, and that she has named Coma as the one that she wants to pray for her after she's dead. So Coma is forced to go. He doesn't know until he gets to this place that the young daughter of this landowner is the witch that he was flying with. So he doesn't tell anybody, this is the witch that I killed. So he is forced to go into this old dark church that hasn't been used for years, filled with icons and cobwebs and candles, and he will be locked into the church 3 nights in a row with this girl's corpse to say the prayers for the dead, for her soul. And so that's the gist of the story. I don't want to give too much away because maybe some of you might want to see this. After each night is over, he's allowed to come out and eat and sleep, but then he has to go back to the dark church. Well, he survives the first 2 nights, but on the 3rd night, okay, you might say all hell breaks loose. But it's a very fascinating little movie. I'm so glad I found this. I got it on eBay, and it has a lot of horror film imagery, but really it's kind of a fairy tale, a very dark fairy tale, or a Russian folk tale, I guess. And it's beautiful to look at. Beautiful color cinematography. A lot of it is location footage of actual mountains and streams. It's very beautiful, and a lot of it is matte paintings, and it's kind of a combination of both. The photography is really cool, and at the end of the story, it gets very horrific with a lot of imagery that almost could be taken from a silent movie. with all these strange creatures and demons. Now V is actually the name of a demon in Russian folklore, kind of a very powerful demon. Now, as I said, this was based on a story by Nikolai Gogol, which I had never read. I read it last night. I've had this book for a few weeks. I had the film maybe for about a month or so. I sent away for it, and I wanted to use it for my letter V films, so I waited until now. But I read the short story last night. I bought this book at Barnes & Noble. I had to order it because they didn't have it on the shelves. And when I got it, I had no idea that the printing was going to be this small. So I was trying to read this story with my best Dollar Tree glasses here, and I still couldn't see it. So I got out my magnifying glass and I was trying to read, and it was very impossible. So I ended up reading it online. Found a nice translation online and read it. And the film is actually very close to the story. Now, my reason for being interested in V in the first place goes back several years when I was researching Black Sunday, Barbara Steele. Mario Bava, who directed this film, was a fan of Russian literature, and he based the story of Black Sunday, or La Maschera del Demonio, on the short story V, although by the time he and about 3 or 4 other writers got through with it, almost nothing remained except the names of 2 of the characters. Coma Brutus, in the film, one of the doctors is named Coma Kruvayan, and he is the older doctor who is locked in the crypt at night with Aza as she is coming back to life, and she hypnotizes him to come closer and have him give his blood for the cause. And one of the other doctors' last name is Gorobek. Well, one of the other seminarians of the story is named Gorobets. So other than that, the fact that there's a beautiful young witch who comes back to life, comes back from the dead, that really has nothing to do with the original story V, but it's still fascinating, and I'm so glad I found this. Don't know what else I want to say about it, except that a lot of you who like horror film imagery or folktale type imagery, interesting cinematography, you might want to give this a look. It's definitely worth a look. I guess that's all I want to say. Let me know if you've seen this, or if you read the story, or you want to comment on my shirt, or anything else. But comments are welcome. So have a good day, folks.